Shorty, look at my shirt. I got pigeon poop on it. What a day, huh, Barry?
Yeah, what a day. Pigeon poop all over the shirt.
For a walk on the beach, and look what happens. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bippys Cove. I'm Leo. This is Barry. Say hi, Barry.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right, we got a really good topic we want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the offshore drilling that we do not want here at the Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah. Right now, we are very concerned about what happens in 2019 to 2024 leasing program off our continental shelf. We understand that New Jersey already has voted unanimously 37-0 not to have drilling here off the Jersey Shore. And also that would mean in the new ruling that they can't lay pipes off the shore within the 3-mile limit. I'm very proud that the state of New Jersey did that, and also from Cape May all the way down to Kingsburg, all the communities have said no to the offshore drilling because they don't want to lose their tourism. According to the records, it would cost $16.6 billion in job loss and $5.5 billion in tax revenue to the state of New Jersey.
That's if the shores and the beaches were closed.
Right. And if there was
that's
no
what the
oil.
loss. Now, remind you, we did take a loss already during Sandy.
Right. We took a loss with the flood, which hit us very hard.
You could just imagine what an oil spill would do here.
Right. And then we were also hit with a double whammy 11 months later with a fire. Mm-hmm. Okay. And we're still recovering from these two losses. Now, can you imagine if we had an oil spill on top of this?
I could not imagine. I mean, I have, flashbacks, memories of the BP oil spill back in 2010, April of 2010.
Yeah.
How long did it take to clean that up, Barry? It was what?
4 years.
4 years cleanup.
4 years of cleanup.
And
can New Jersey afford 4 years of cleanup? I don't think so.
Of our beaches being a disaster with oil crude, with
right.
oil.
We have beautiful, pristine beaches. Why do we want to destroy it by building oil rigs off our Jersey coast? It would destroy the beautiful, pristine beaches we have all across the New Jersey coast.
Not saying that it's going to happen, or that it's it could happen though. The disasters could happen, as we all know. Getting back to that BP incident, 2000 and 2010, 11 people were killed. It was a massive explosion, and so it was a disaster, and it reached what was it? It was in the states of what? Alabama,
all the way up to Florida.
Yeah, that whole Gulf Coast, Alabama, Texas. So it doesn't make any sense to do it. And I understand for us to go and find other sources so we don't make the other countries rich.
I understand that too, but right now the Jersey Shore is a risk, and it's too big of a risk. Jersey depends on its tourism. It's the second largest way of making money in the state of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And if you had an offshore spill, it would destroy the tourism from all the way from Kingsburg all the way right down to Cape May. And the cleanup factors would be just astronomical. And think of those men over there in Point Pleasant, the men who go out there fishing in the ocean. it would destroy their businesses. And we're
Oh my
talking
God.
millions of dollars.
Not just Point Pleasant. What about here? Seaside.
Seaside. Oh my gosh.
Seaside. Well, Wildwood.
Wildwood, Atlantic City.
All of our beautiful
Beaches. They would be.
And some of these rigs, we don't really know exactly where they're going to put them, but they're huge. They all have landing pads that where the where the helicopters land on.
When these employees go on these rigs, oil rigs and gas rigs,
they're there for a while.
They're out there for 6 to 8 months before they come back in for a shore leave, and then they're relieved by somebody else for another 6 to 8 months. So they're out there for a long time. But here's my big stink about this. New Jersey is noted as a hurricane area. Okay, what happens if we have a massive hurricane? There has been problems with the rigs with hurricanes. There's been problems with the rigs with explosions. There has been problems with the rigs with the bottom of the ocean. We don't want that here in Jersey. That's too big of a risk, especially the way lately the hurricanes have been coming up the coast. We just went through, just to prove a point, with Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen if we have another Sandy?
And that's not even. I mean, that's not even due to an explosion or something or some kind of malfunction. I mean, just the weather elements is what you're talking about. We don't, the way the weather, could destroy these things. Also, nobody's ever really talking about that.
How do you tell the fishing industry that they may not be able to fish for 4 years, or find no fish on the bottom of the sea for 4 years? How do you tell that to them?
Yeah.
We just can't take that risk right now. It's too awesome of a risk.
I remember when that happened in 2010. I know I keep bringing up that incident, but that's so fresh in my memory because it recently, it happened only. It only happened how many years? 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's.
Not
I remember that. No, but let me get to the point that I remember when I was in Florida at that time. 2 years later, after that, I didn't even want to eat seafood. I was afraid of where it was coming from. So I mean, can you imagine? It's all these animals and the fish and the birds. They're covered with oil, and they wash up on the shore, and it's just so sad. If that does happen, it could be a really sad. It could be a really
disaster.
And
boy, would it be a hell of a disaster. All right, to let her...
And not to mention, I'm sorry, Barry, I hate to keep cutting you off, but not to mention that in the BP oil spill, Barry, how many gallons was that? 172?
2 million gallons.
172 million gallons. That was with that explosion. So can you imagine? I mean, I know that sounds a lot. Maybe it won't be as bad, maybe not every one, but look at the size of these rigs. Look at the jobs that they do. I know that it's going to give everybody jobs. President Trump wants to use our own sources here in America, to find to get our own oil, so we don't have to make Saudi Arabia rich and with their gold buildings. But I don't know. I live here at the Jersey Shore, so I just don't want to see it. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I understand, according to what has been already done, that Florida already has been issued to be exempt from the Trump plan. Everybody on the Atlantic coastline is saying no to this plan because a lot of these communities all across the different states in the Atlantic Ocean depend on tourism in their capital.
Yeah.
So if they can say no to Florida, please say no to this Atlantic shelf continental oil gas plan. I'm also suggesting that you write to all your Congress people in Washington, D.C., write to them, find out senators and people in the governors, write to all your governors and tell them, hey, we don't want this Atlantic leasing project in the Atlantic Ocean, especially in New Jersey, New York area.
If we could get enough people, if we could get enough signatures, enough people to say no, it'll be no.
It will be no, because then you're telling the House and the Senate of the federal government that we don't want drilling off the Atlantic Ocean. That's a no-no.
Yeah. And it's what's the thing with the 3 miles, Barry?
Okay, there is a 3-mile jurisdiction off the coast of New Jersey. Now, the other jurisdiction, which goes 200 miles off the Jersey shore, is recognized by the federal government. So Jersey jurisdicts up to 3 miles from the coast.
So that means they can't come closer than 3 miles.
Right, but now Jersey
but
has
they could go after beyond the 3
miles, and this is where you're going to have to write to your senators and people in the House legislation of the federal government and say to them, no, we don't want no drilling off the Atlantic Ocean. No, we don't want no drilling in New Jersey.
Who's going to want to see a rig if you're sitting on the beach over here?
3 miles off your shore.
You're going to see one of those big rigs. 3 miles in the ocean, you could actually see. It'll be visible. If it's beyond that, this one here, the BP explosion was seen 35 miles away. That was an explosion. That was an explosion. That's maybe a little bit different, but I'm sure, I don't know exactly where they put these things, but I mean, wherever the spot is, and whenever they feel that this is a hot spot, they're going to drill.
Yeah.
So,
what I'm concerned about is the cleanup.
Yeah.
All right.
That's going to take forever. 3 years.
We're talking maybe, let's say we're talking millions of gallons of oil in a spill. Now we're talking 3 to 4 years of on the bottom of the ocean being dormant.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to then destroy the fishing industry. Boy, will it destroy the fishing industry. Boy, that everybody in Pleasant, there's going to be a lot of people out of jobs out of there. And hey, how about that seafood that we get off the Atlantic Ocean? All right? You won't be able to get that fresh fish that you get in your restaurants. Just think about that too.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it.
And I know we don't want to think about it, but let's face reality. If we have an oil spill, we're talking about the marine life.
Just think of the animals,
the animals, the birds, the fish,
seagulls,
the seagulls,
all the fish that would wash up
the crabs, the hermit crabs, the horseshoe crab, which we've been trying to save.
Now, if you look at the way this one is, the oil spill, the way it surrounds, and how, because when you think about it, water has movement. It spreads rapidly, real quick. So I mean, it's not like they're drilling on the ground here where it could be an easy cleanup. The whole thing is that the water it's rapidly moving.
Right.
So which makes it spread even faster and faster and wider.
And here's something else for everybody to think about. Think of all the money from Green Acres and the state of New Jersey on its replenishment programs, of billions of dollars that have been spent on our beaches. And then all of a sudden now you come up with an oil spill. Do you realize how many billions of dollars we're talking on an oil spill? And right now that's a lot of money to talk about. If our state got hit with it, I don't think it could take another whammy like that.
But what other states, Barry? There's other states that they want to do this to, right? Too?
Yeah. Oh, we're not the only state.
Florida's exempt, so I mean, I'm sure there's going to be like, what about Georgia and South Carolina?
They're all fighting. They're all fighting not to see that this happens.
So it's not just New Jersey. That's gonna,
Okay, let's understand one thing, everybody. New Jersey is the home of boardwalks. This is where it all started. This is where it all began. This is where tourism begins, in New Jersey. We have one of the greatest resources in New Jersey is our tourism. Now let's make that clear. Our tourism dates back to 1870, starting with Atlantic City, and it spread it all across the Jersey Shore. We take care of New York. We take care of people from all over the world. I want you to take care and think about this. Think of all the people who we create jobs for. Now, what do you say to those people if they lose those jobs because of an oil spill?
Yeah.
You couldn't even go on that beach, and they say no to you, and you're roasting in an 80 to a 90 degree day. Think about that too. Well, this is not being funny. This is something really, really serious that you got to think about, and think of boating in the Atlantic Ocean in oil. Boy, would that be interesting. Yeah.
You couldn't do it.
You couldn't even do it.
You couldn't do it.
You get sick of it.
What about the ocean, Lennox? But not only that, but the smell and everything else.
The smell. And think of the apartments that everybody rents out, smelling oil. Can you picture that in your head?
No.
No. To me, that would be disgusting.
But we have such. I mean, just take a look. We have such a beautiful ocean here. We're gonna take you on a little stroll here. It's a beautiful ocean. We have all beautiful boardwalk. We have beautiful piers. Look at these beautiful houses here, and how everybody. Why? How could we actually? Why would we actually even want to do this? I mean, to experience another disaster like that, I mean, it would. Oh my God! I'm not at a loss for words. I can't even imagine. All
right, I want everybody else to think of something else here. The homeowners already have spent $172,000 to raise their home to enjoy the Jersey Shore. If the Jersey Shore got contaminated, what would you say to those people? That's pretty hard to swallow. And think of all the apartments and everything where money has already been spent with insurance companies and privately from the homeowners what the insurance companies wouldn't cover. We're talking a lot of money here. We're talking millions of dollars, okay?
Yeah.
From recovery. All right? If we get hit with an oil spill, the recovery will be 100 times worse than what we have gone through now. Okay? It took us right now, and we're still going at it. We went already through $24 million to rebuild our boardwalk here in Seaside Heights. And we're still rebuilding. Okay? So now, can you imagine in your head billions of dollars to be spent to replace and fix a beach and still may have 4 years effects to it? No, I can't see that. That's why I'm saying no to offshore drilling in New Jersey. And I don't want to see it because I know that the destruction that it would cause to the Jersey Shore, not only to the Jersey Shore, all the other states that are in the Atlantic Ocean, like New York, New Jersey, Delaware, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, which is another big tourist resort. Okay, we don't want to lose that money. We were all founded on tourism. It's a big thing on the Atlantic Ocean, more bigger than what it is.
Even pretty much on the Pacific too, though, Barry. I mean, you got California, you got Northern California, Southern California, Central California, plus Washington and Oregon. I mean, the beaches over there are just as nice. I'm sure there's a lot of things over there too. I mean, it's really hard. It's a really our thing. We're bringing this to you to let everybody know about what's going on, and say no. We
want you all to say no. But that's why we're saying, please write to your legislators. Tell them we like our tourism in the Atlantic Ocean. If every state on the East Coast tells their legislator from New York, New Jersey, all the way down to Florida, says no drilling off the Atlantic, then they'll stop these drills from happening. But you, the taxpayers, have to write to your legislators and tell them, no, we don't want our shores polluted. We already seen what they did in the Gulf of Mexico. We already seen what they did already in the Pacific Ocean. Please don't destroy the main and last part of the United States, which is the Atlantic Ocean, a place where everybody can escape, have a good time, and not worry about oil drilling off the Atlantic Ocean, and not worry about the fishing industry being damaged. Because once that happens, we'll lose everything.
Well, think about the cruise liners too.
Yeah.
How?
Okay, understand the shipping lanes are 3 miles off the coast of the United States. So that's where all the ships travel. But now, can you imagine having an ocean liner traveling in oil? Yeah, it's disgusting. We have cruise lines that go from New York. We have cruise lines that go from Florida. But you notice on that side of the areas, there's no drilling. Now, can you imagine having a cruise line going off the Jersey Shore and hitting an oil spill?
Barry, we just keep saying it'll be a disaster.
It's a disaster.
It goes on and on and on. I mean, it's just going to be, it's horrible.
That's why we're saying no, ladies and gentlemen. I know this is a hot issue. I know there's a lot of pros and cons to this.
Yeah.
But the best thing everybody can do right now is say no. And the best way you can say no is writing to your legislators. Yes, we are back in Sierra on this. Sierra is totally against this. I agree with Sierra Club on this one. This is one pristine ocean, but we also have to take into fact the climate, the weather, the pristine beaches that we have left in the United States. Let's keep them that way.
You know we're at the Jersey Shore and how much we love it. I'm here to represent. I got a shirt that says Seaside Heights. I mean, I want it. I'm representing right now, and so is Barry right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's the Jersey Shore. So, our thing is that I love it. I love it here. We all have, you know, it's a place where we live. It's a place where we, you know,
we have enjoyed. Our lives are here.
Ourselves.
Our lives are here. Our jobs have been here. They have helped put us through a lot of situations. But now what you say to people when there's offshore drilling? Do I blame them for saying no? I say to them, go ahead and say no and be proud of it. Because you're fighting to keep something that is valuable, precious. And that ocean is precious to us because it brings the tourism every year. It's pretty hard to swallow when you say to somebody, no, you can't go into the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah. That's pretty hard.
Just think of the poor animals, too.
I think of the poor animals.
Yeah.
And I think of the animal activists that are going to be involved here.
The ducks.
The ducks and
seagulls.
Seagulls.
All kinds of birds.
And how about the dolphins that come off our waters?
Dolphins, yeah.
Well, hey. Oh, and here's another one for you to think about. How about the whales that come up our ocean and go up north, up to Canada, and then come back our way? Please understand, whales are becoming an endangered species, and we want to protect them just as much as everybody else wants to protect them. And by pointing oil rigs on the Atlantic Ocean, it's not helping the whale, it's hurting the poor whale.
Yeah.
And they depend on that food in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, in order to grow and mature. But when you put an oil spill in there, you're hurting the whale. You're creating a species. You may become more endangered.
So
Okay?
Barry and I says no.
We're saying no.
We're saying no to offshore drilling.
We're saying no.
So I think do whatever you have to do to contact your legislators.
And
You don't want to see Barry looking out towards the ocean again and with that tear in his eye like he did during Sandy. So, I mean, we don't want to see that with an oil spill too. So,
no.
I think that's it for tonight. I want to make sure everybody has a great day. What a day. And Barry and I says good night for now.
Good night, everybody. See you in episode 18.